هذول المضطهدين.
بالعكس خالص احنا
واضح انهم حابين جدا واضح.
Very well done احمد, very well done. Thank you. Thank you.
شغل.
Whenever you like.
Okay.
Good afternoon. How are you guys? And I had a gout attack last night. Standing for long periods of time is a pain on my toe. It's actually quite swollen right now. How's everybody today? Good? I think we've learned a lot today from a lot of different people, right? But there is something that combines everybody here regardless of the company that we come from, correct? Which is what? Something which is a base of why we're here today as well, or here for the whole week. Why is it? What are we here to do this whole week?
It's not your heart?
No, my heart. I have no heart. No. So what have we been learning all week long?
How to train?
How to train, exactly. And what's the first training session that we are told we're going to do for the rest of the group or our companies?
About something you know very
Code of conduct.
Code of conduct. What have we been talking about all morning? Each one of you guys is presenting a different type of code of conduct and how you guys are tying it into your own operations or your own everyday activities, correct? Now, in the past, IMA Trading had their own code of conduct. I'm guessing Saudi Ready-Mix had their own code of conduct. But now we have a group code of conduct which goes down onto all the subsidiaries of the company. What does that do to us as people?
Join us.
We become one.
Become one.
Correct? So now we have a tie between each other, although we are working different industries or different companies. So now we are all tied by one base, which is what? The core values.
Yes.
What are the core values?
Perform.
Perform. What does it do to us? What have we been talking about for the past 2 days? Core values are behaviors. So that means the group as a whole, because of us joining the core values between the subsidiaries, we all have the same behavior, correct? Meaning we all deal with each other equally, we all deal with each other the same way, and we all believe in the same thing as well. So we have the same environment regardless of the company that we should be in. That's the overall gist of it, isn't it? Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
But now, while we're doing all of this, I want you guys to ask yourself, how many of the core values does each one of you actually live, or believe in, or exhibit in his own? Nobody's perfect. We are all humans after all, correct? Humans do make mistakes. Every day cannot be a passionate day for you. Every day cannot be a day where you come and you're reliable. There are days where we have emotions, we have feelings, we don't come in with our best of health, but we still come in. Now the core values are telling us you need to try to achieve those and excel in each one of them for as much as you can every time when you come to work, correct? But that doesn't mean we're going to hold you liable saying you did not come in that day, very passionate. It's the overall thing. Now, as I said, we're going to talk about the core values because this is why we're here. We're doing a 1-week training to become trainers. And for me, it's quite interesting seeing all of you guys present today because I realized where I am in the context of the word trainer. I realized that today I'm a presenter more than I am a trainer. I've seen some of you guys, which are more technical, become really good presenters, and it made me open my eyes saying, I have to change a little if I want to become a trainer. And so I've learned today what the doctor has been teaching us for the past 2-3 days. And at the same time, I've learned more about your company than when I actually did my training 2 years ago. So it's a quite interesting and fun day. The aim of this presentation is going to be obviously the core values, which we're repeating over and over, and it's one of the learning techniques we've heard that once you repeat something over and over, people tend to retain it. Especially when you're talking about something you can't feel or touch. It's something you have to believe in, it's something you are told, it's something you read about, correct? This is not a practical thing you could really give someone to feel or touch. We're also going to cover something else, which is INMA trading, and I'm going to look at it in a different aspect than my colleagues have. And unfortunately, my colleague Abdurrahman is not up to date in his presentation.
We're still in that particular setup, so yeah, I didn't take into consideration your thing.
Well, I mean, we've already presented to the top management the new way going forward. So hopefully I'll introduce the new INMA to everybody, and then we'll see on who knows INMA and what do you guys know about INMA. And then we're going to talk about a new business line, similar to how he introduced his business line of post-sanctioning. We're going to introduce a new business line that I have been recently assigned to at INMA Trading. And then we'll wrap it up from there and see what we've learned all together. Okay? You guys are free to ask questions. It's an open discussion. I prefer that. I personally might learn from you guys as much as you may learn from me. So there's nothing harm in saying, hey, hello, I have something to say, or I have a question to ask. Okay? As we said, our core values are summarized into, what our core values say summarized into one word, which is perform. Of those core values, I've personally chosen two, which I feel will tie in to what I want to present to you guys or introduce to you guys as INMA Trading, or the business line underneath INMA Trading. So out of perform, I've chosen two, which is excellence and reliability. Excellence and reliability. Sticking to the way we hopefully will present, it's a very nice picture. I personally think, if we think about this, or even think about the recent guy, who was the guy who just recently did a tandem skydive from space? No, that's the first man on the moon, I think.
God bless you, Daddy Jack.
It's like Felix or something, right?
Felix, yes.
So it's the same concept. Think about Felix. I mean, this is old, but let's go to Felix. A lot of people on here, I'm pretty sure, were keeping up on watching the news and watching the minute by minute of everything that was happening as his job was. Is it true? Did everybody watch that? Yes? Yes? What was it they kept on talking about? How the importance of what? Of every little aspect that was required to get Felix up there, to get him prepared, and to get him to actually complete the task that was given to him. Correct? And we're saying everything, down to the person who sweeps, the person who cleans, the person who brings the teas to make sure the people working on the design or engineers are comfortable. So everyone had a little part in playing on getting Felix up there and jumping. So it's the same concept with this, getting a man on the moon. Nobody would have thought it's possible, but it was a group of people who came together, each person excelling in where he works, correct, to come together and achieve a complete task, a task which is not an ordinary task, similar to what Felix has done. And that's exactly what excellence means. It's striving to become or better than what you are asked for, correct? And everything you do. And this is going to be very key in the business line that we're talking about, because we're going to talk about people's lives at risk. Okay? The second core value we said is reliability. Our president's choice, again, a very well choice. Who's Superman?
Each and every one of us. Each one.
Ah. I mean, there's Comic-Con in Dubai this weekend. If you have a costume, you can come and wear it. You know, it's the only time an adult can wear a costume and have fun. Superman is always known in the comics and in the cartoons that he's always there. He'll get things done, he'll fix things, he'll save people. So he's reliable. You can always depend on Superman coming in, regardless of where you are or what's happening, correct? So reliability, again, a very important value, in my opinion, to what we all should be to our customers. Because if we are not reliable, and we've talked about this over and over again, correct? If we're not reliable, they will not what?
Come back.
Exactly. They just won't come back to you. I mean, I'm going to give you something personal. It's not trying to say me, but my friend who lives about 20 minutes away, when he needs a ride somewhere, rather than calling his neighbor, he calls me because he knows I'll be there in 20 minutes. Whereas his neighbor, literally next door neighbor, might take him half an hour to get ready to come out when he needs it in 5 minutes. So he told me, I always call you when I know I need something important, but when I know it's not so important, I don't bother you with it. So I'm proud to say that I feel he sees me as someone reliable. He can come to me whenever he needs something, regardless of what it is. So reliability is something we should be to everything and everyone and what we do. Business-wise, is to our customers or our stakeholders, let's say. So something that we're hopefully going to bring down to everybody is saying, are the core values for us only? Or is it something we can use as a marketing technique? correct? Is it something that's important for your customers to know what your core values are? Why is it when the doctor gave us examples of other international companies saying this were their values, yet they failed? So now, if people know what our values are, and they see it in the way you deal with them, they believe it as well. And then they start saying, you know what? Saudi Arabia, Turkey, in trading, yeah, no, these guys, passion. These guys, we see that they really do have fun. When they come in, we enjoy. What is fun? It's an atmosphere. It's not necessarily you just having fun. It's making it fun for other people as well. It's coming in and letting your other employees or your clients or your people that you're discussing with to feel comfortable and joyful that you're there talking with them, correct? So when your customers, you deal with them with these core values, they start believing it as well. And that's very key in how they look at you tomorrow when you knock the door or you give them a call or you even ask them for something. So it's in every little thing you do, the core values. Internally, you would have to, as we are all managers, I'm guessing in one way or another here, or at least at some middle management level, we all have people subordinates underneath us, correct? So we lead by what? By example. So if our seniors did not believe this, we would not believe in it. If we did not believe in it, our subordinates would not believe in it. And then in the end, going back to the drawing of a tree, our roots would be what? Egypt. Exactly. So some things to think about when you go about thinking about the core values, and hopefully when we're giving the training to the rest of the employees in our companies about the core values. And similar, last but not least, I've given you an example, a personal example, but any example is good. Because, again, to just give you a definition, it means nothing. For you to enact it out to somebody, it's not real enough. But to give a live example of how you've been able to get that value given to you, you know, or you've expressed it to somebody, that's different. That will stick with a person, because then he says, yeah, I've been in that position before. You know what? He makes sense. And he understands it a lot better. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, which is, and let's see how many people have paid attention in Abdurrahman's presentation, because he kind of gave it away. But what does INMA stand for?
Industry.
It's coming. It's coming. And industrial material and no
Services.
services. I mean, you were supposed to talk. Right? It's industrial materials and services company limited. Okay. But let me ask the Saudi Arabia people specifically. What do you guys know about INMA? What does INMA do? We have fun, I'll tell you that.
We do. No, I respect that, surely, because I know most of your employees, they are doing well and strong cost tension slabs in promoting powder material for cementitious material, and we cover the waterproofing products for race.
Okay.
It's very, very, very genius material.
Right. What other business lines is INMA? What do you guys know INMA does? No, INMA trading. Sorry, trading. INMA trading.
Yeah.
What other business lines other than what he had just mentioned? No, INMA Steel is not INMA trading. What other business lines are under INMA trading? Wood. Okay. What else? No, pallets, again, it's a separate company. INMA pallets is a separate company.
Well, anything that can have business, it will go separately.
And that's exactly why we're presenting this today. That's exactly why I decided when I was thinking, what am I going to present to you guys, is to present to you what is in it today. Because it's like you said, it keeps on changing. There's always merging, there's always splitting. And today, with all the changes that are happening within our group, such as the organizational structure in Saudi Ready-Mix, we are at INMA Trading going through also a big change. And that's what we're going to get into. But see, what you guys have mentioned when I asked about INMA Trading to the people who've been here longer, I guess, you've mentioned a bunch of lines that are all falling underneath one division, which is which division? Construction division. And you mentioned wood, lumber, which is another division. You mentioned cement replacement and whatnot.
Contagious.
Exactly. But do these business lines fall under industrial material and services? Are they industrial?
No.
Exactly. No. They're not. Construction. They're not industrial, they're construction. And that's exactly what's happening. Today, the corporate has decided to say that within Inma Trading we have divisions that have grown to be sizable enough to spin them off into setting up their own companies. So construction is going to become a new co, and that's why Abdurrahman will have his own new co. Lumber and cement replacement have gone under Mashid. And what's left at Inma Trading? Let's see. It's quite interesting because today, Inma Trading finally becomes, and I'll give you guys this later to see it, it finally becomes more focused to industrial. So currently, what we also have some other stuff is ICT, which in the plan, 2 years from now, once it grows into separate business, again, it goes out of Inma and becomes its own company, maybe. But we have power division, where we are looking at backup UPS systems, we are looking at system integration, we are looking at diesel generators, we are looking at energy efficiency, and then what have we added new into the business line? No. Leave what's here, I'll come to that. What we've added is industrial gases, which I'm going to talk about right now. So industrial gases goes into a different of other industries, its application. We are looking at industrial engineered solutions such as ice plants. I've met already with your team, Mohammed Abu Zaid and Hani Kishta. Hopefully we'll become an ice plant. Now that's why we say engineered solution, because this is not an item off the shelf. But it's an industry. You guys are an industry that we want to cater to. So we're looking at ice plants with you guys, and we're looking at a complete, huge industry in Saudi Arabia, which is the water sector. In the water sector, 6 years ago or 5 years ago, there were 2 projects registered. Today there's 20 projects registered. It's a growing sector in Saudi Arabia because of the demand. 27% of the desalination of the world, desalinated water of the world, is here in Saudi Arabia. 27% of the desalinated water.
And the largest one will be in Yemen, the world.
So, I mean, you guys can read, but what is air and what is air made up of?
Gases.
It's gases, but it's not mainly oxygen, what I thought at first as well. It's actually nitrogen. There's about 79%, 78% of nitrogen, only 20% of oxygen. That's new information, exactly. So what are we doing under industrial gases? We are using something called PSA generators. What is PSA? It's pressure swing adsorption. Pressure because you build up pressure in certain vessels. Swing because it swings between 1 and 2 vessels as it generates and degenerates the gases. Okay? And then adsorption because you're using a certain sort of material that absorbs either the nitrogen or the oxygen depending on what you are end producing. We'll look at this process a little further. And then, oh, actually, let me just show you the video for this. Okay. So it starts with a compressor, and the beauty of this is because it's on site. So you don't have the issues of importing cylinders or transporting cylinders. You have a compressor that goes into a dryer, and let me just slow that down a little. So you have a compressor that compresses air, a dryer that dries the moisture out of the air, and then you have a cold tower which takes any oil carryover or residue from the compressor, because it's important to get all of that out so the purity of the gas that you're looking for comes out as required. Then you have an air tank which builds up the pressure required to go into finally the PSA generator. And this is where we said it will swing between the 2 tanks here as it generates and degenerates the gases. And finally it goes out into a product talk. And here's what we're talking about, adsorption. You're using zeolite which traps the N2 and lets the oxygen flow through. As it degenerates, the nitrogen gets blown out in the exhaust. Now there's many advantages. It's flexible, it's cost saving, you don't deal with high pressure cylinders anymore, and so a lot of these advantages have allowed us to have a client already in Saudi Arabia that's using it in 7 of the hospitals of Amman. He was moving around 250 cylinders per day, which are like these kind of cylinders. And now he has 1 generator in each of his hospitals generating his own oxygen. as required. He's saved about 2 million reals in 1 year by going through this. He's canceled out a lot of transportation and handling costs. Some important information usually we have to get so we can, it's an engineered solution. Again, it's not off the shelf, so this is what we look at INMA, we look for engineered solutions. So when we go to apply, there's certain information we need to see so we can design the solution for him specifically. And so with that I'll end and just do a quick recap. And what did we say about the core values? Sorry. What did we say about the core values? 5, 4, 3.
We live.
Exactly. Thank you very much. I'm just going to pass this up real quickly. This is for everybody to just take home, just to let you see what INMA is.
لا لانهم
Or has
في
become,
challenge
I should
points
say.
but they are there عرفت علي؟
This
We
is
always
the
try to prove that we are there. We don't.
How many employees do you have in Saudi?
Yes.
How many employees do you have in Saudi?
3000
And how many in
لا
100. And I think we made our
لا
impression.
لا
Very
أنت
clear,
لا
with only 100 people.
don't even start this لا لأنه جد لما تروح أي شركة احنا ايش انما تريدنج فور اس يعني إنه الناس جالسين ما عندهم شغل أي واحد يلقوا له شغل يعطونه شركة يطلع على جنب خلونا بالحال بزنس.
Okay, gentlemen, what I would like you to do is on a small piece of paper, out of the 15 presentations we have today, write for me the names of the best presentation, the best 5 in order. Only the top 5. So you'll say so and so number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. But you don't put your name. Your name is not one of your choices. Okay? So let's see how other people see you, how other people perceive you. Okay? Just write me the top 5 presenters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No more than 5.